Whoa, down to 50 knots because I am too busy goofing around. Alright, power's coming in. Here we go.
November 4 Tango Delta, runway 24, clear for the option, make right close traffic.
Clear for the option 24, right close traffic for helicopter 4 Tango Delta.
213 Las Vegas Tower, wind 190 at 7, runway 19 right, clear to land. Correction, Pro Flight 213, runway 25 left, clear to land.
So 60 knots, that's sort of where you want to enter the auto. That's where you want to be in the auto. Get the nose forward just a little bit and we'll do a right 180 to 24 here. That's good. Parallel the button. Power's coming off. Collective's coming down. Here we go. Nose comes back to get that RPM back in. A little bit of a check on there. Nice smooth roll through. Bringing the nose back just a bit to get that 60 knots. Looking good. RPM's a little bit high. That's fine. We're going to lose it as the nose comes forward. This is coming back. RPM's going to spike, checking that just a bit. Should arrest our rate of descent nicely. Hold for the flare, hold for the flare, hold for the flare. It's 50 feet. Flare's coming in.
Approaching. Entered. Runway 24.
Whiskey Romeo, runway 19 left, clear for the option.
Ah, I bounced it. There we go. Alright, power's coming back in. RPM's coming up. Let's hit that horn there. Center to cyclic. Trim is centered. RPM's coming up. Here we go. RPM's at 100. Here we go. Throttle's full. T's and P's are good. No warning lights. Auto relay on. Fuel 450 pounds. Nice, Torm. Yeah, it's 407. You would think it's harder because it's really well modeled, but it's actually easier because it's really well modeled. The rotor does as you would expect it to do, and all that other good stuff. So.
Bravo 5 Charlie, cross runway 25 right.
Watching the power. Don't pull too much. And here we go. In the climb. A bit of blade slap. It's a wonderful thing.
Flight 213, remain this frequency.
Pulling everything we got now for max continuous. Pitch for 60 knots. There you go. That is 1,000 feet there. So we're all the way up at circuit altitude. We're barely just upwind. So power attitude trim. We'll aim for 1.5 for the next auto. We'll do the same thing. We'll do a right 180 for the numbers. And then we'll do a 360 after that. Trimming the airplane out a bit. So airspeed's really high right now. It's not really high, it's 90 knots. Well below cruise. Yeah, Draken, well, your throttle's always at 100%. Your throttle is the amount of fuel that's being provided to the engine in theory. Whereas your collective is simply the amount of pitch you have in the blades. Stand by. Helicopter, correction, Palomar Tower Helicopter 734 Tango Delta is parallel the numbers for 24 right downwind.
Helicopter 4 Tango Delta, runway 24, clear for the option.
Clear for the option, 24, Helicopter 4 Tango Delta. Yeah, so your collective is simply the amount of pitch you have on the blades, whereas the throttle is the amount of fuel being introduced into the engine. So normally, in a helicopter, you roll your throttle up to 100, and then it's the governor's job to manage the amount of fuel that's coming in. There's the inner marker. So we're going to go really long on this one here, just because I was talking too much and flying too little, but that's okay. So I'm just basically going to hold the nose here at 100% rotor RPM, let that airspeed bleed off. Airspeed's bleeding off. There's 50 feet, so we're actually already in the flare right now, so I'm going to check the collective just a bit. There's 60 knots. 50. Now aggressively flare, get the last bit of that rotor RPM out, and let it settle. A little bit rough on that one. It's all good. Okay, RPM's up, throttle's full, and the warning lights on, relays on. Let's do this. Get this thing in trim, we'll fly a little better. Straighter.
Charlie Golf Uniform Whiskey Romeo, runway 1 on our left, clear for the option.
So I'm pulling max continuous now. So threshold, 100 knots, nose is coming up, we'll zoom climb.
ProFly 213.
This is 3,000 feet per minute, pitching for 60 knots. There's 60 knots right on the nose. You can't teach that, folks, that's instinct. 100 to go. Power's coming out a bit. We'll start a right turn, clear right. There we go. I'm about 60 feet below where I want to be. There we go, that's right where I want to be. 90 knots. Yeah, your throttle's always at 100%, like I said, so your governor is going to do the job of introducing more fuel. As you increase the collective, the helicopter needs more fuel, right? Because the blades they're causing more resistance by having a higher pitch. Palomar Tower helicopter 4 Tango Deltas midfield right down 124.
Helicopter 4 Tango Delta runway 24, clear for the option.
Clear for the option 24, 4 Tango Delta. So we're gonna do a 360 now, which is gonna be interesting because I've never done one in a flight sim. Yeah, so you never really touch the throttle. It's actually part of your checks is, you know, downwind or on takeoff. You roll the throttle and make sure it's at 100%. It's at and locked at 100%. Basically, at that point, you're giving the engine the authority to introduce as much fuel as it can. Alright, let's come hard right to the numbers. I need to lose a couple hundred feet here, so that's all good. Ball is centered. We'll do this as a 360. There's a marker. There we go. Oh, RPM's a bit high there. It's okay, we'll manage that with the collective. Nose is coming back. We're still looking for 60 knots. In the field in sight. And a little bit too much of a turn there. RPM's low, collective's coming down, nose is coming back. I may be a bit shy here. So there we go. Way out of trim, and that's actually going to make, that's probably, if I do come up short here, that's going to be the reason for it. It's because I was flying the helicopter way out of trim in that turn. .60 knots, 100% on the rotor RPM. This is just looking very, very smooth.
Approaching runway.
Nose comes back.
4.
Power comes in. Nose forward. Let it settle. Oh, I bumped it.
Uniform Whiskey.
There we go. It's a little bit shy. We wanted to be on the numbers there, but we missed it.
Straight ahead to party at Alpha. This frequency. Congratulations on the V1. Nicely done.
Yeah, Dragon. Well, that's torque. That's a different thing entirely. So when I take off here, I'm going to do it without any pedal input. So right now, as you can see, pedals are neutral. I'm going to bring the power in. The helicopter's going to spin to the right. Power's coming in, and it's just going to try and keep it centered here on the runway. So you can see as it's slowly drifting to the right. I'm going to use left pedal input with the addition of power to keep it pointed where I want it. So let's get the roll in here.
Approaching runway 24.
Do another 360. We'll reset in Palomar, and well, not reset, but we'll take a short breather and figure out what we want to do from there. So normally you would never climb like this. So we're sort of outside the height velocity diagram right now, but it's just a little bit easier to talk and fly when I'm trying to maintain the same altitude. There's 120 knots, nose is coming up. Bleed, 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 bleed. 80 knots was coming forward, looking for 60. 300 to go. 70 knots. Shit the bed on that one. There we go. Clear right. So anytime you're making those collective changes there, Draken, even in flight, you have to be really cognizant of that. Is that you're adjusting the trim on the, using your pedals to keep the ball centered. I'm looking at the ball just under the VSI there.
Charlie Golf Uniform Whiskey Romeo, Roger. Have a great evening. Helicopter 4 Tango Delta, runway 24. Clear for the option.
Clear for the option 24. It'll be a full stop. Helicopter 4 Tango Delta.
Helicopter 4 Tango Delta, shooting out. Runway 24. Clear to land.
I am a creature of habit. Thanks.
Helicopter 4 Tango Delta, wind 260 at 5. Under tree 003.
3003 with the winds, 4 Tango Delta. I think she likes me. She probably likes me a lot. Yeah, compared to fixed wing Draken, yeah, it is a little bit. Let's bring it around here, a little bit of blade slap for you guys. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. So I am 500 feet above circuit altitude, which is sort of bad juju. You really don't want to do that, but we're the only guys out here. Okay, so we're in trim. I got 110 knots. Everything's looking good. Power's off. And the stick really goes hard aft and right. If you guys are interested in watching some real-world autos there, if you look on my profile page or whatever it is, whatever your Twitch page is called, if you click on one of the pictures of me, I think they're both hyperlinks. One is of me riding a motorcycle, and the other is of me flying a helicopter. And the one of me flying a helicopter is actually me doing autos in the R22. I am not going to make this. So am I going to do a power recovery here, or are we going to ride this in? We're going to ride this in. So I still got a bit of airspeed I can use to bring that rotor RPM up a little higher. A bit less resistance on the blades. We're going to come way short here, and I am way out of rig. So that's okay. RPM's lower, bottom of the green, so we're going to start the flare. A little bit rough there. Chevy, you'd lie. You're lying to me. So let's just run this guy up here. So you can see if I was aiming for a swimming pool or whatever you're aiming for in the middle of a city, I would have missed it by a country mile.
Approaching runway 24.
I know, iPad, I know. In Palomar Tower, helicopter 4 Tango Delta is clear at 24 at Alpha 1.
Helicopter 4 Tango Delta, have a taxi via
Approaching
Alpha.
runway. Entered runway 24.
Hover taxi via Alpha via Tower. Thanks, 4 Tango Delta. So I'm just going to park this girl. Actually, I'm going to sidestep it in because we're balling and we can. Hopefully without gaining 30 feet in the process. There we go. Ah, so close, man. Those skids were like 6 inches off the ground when I did that. Stop drifting, you animal. Ah, so close. So close to being smooth. Alright, power's coming off, throttle's coming down. Horns off. Alright, we're just gonna let it idle here for a sec.